We are set to shoot a pivotal scene in the film in this grand house in Malta. It is the moment when the Count must decide whether he will remain with the love of his life or leave her to pursue his revenge. And I look up to the ceiling as I'm weighing this decision. Now, in reality, I'm looking up at nothing. I mean, there's nothing up there except white plaster. Then the director, Kevin Reynolds, who is a Baptist from Texas, pulls me aside and says, "Let me show you what you'll be looking at. I found something down the hall that I think will work for the film." So he takes me into the room, about 10 doors away, and he points to the ceiling. Well, I'm in shock. I'm just standing there slack-jawed, because there on the ceiling is a fresco of the Immaculate Conception of the Virgin Mary. Now, Kevin Reynolds doesn't know a thing about Mary or the Catholic Church, so I said, "Do you have any idea what that is?" And in a Texas drawl, he says, "Yup," and leaves the room. Well, I was hesitant to add to that "yup," for fear that he would take the shot out of the movie, so I just kept my mouth shut. But it was a sign for me, a sign that the Lord and His Blessed Mother were with me. And through all my trials, Mary had been there all along, leading me by the hand, guiding me toward her Son and my vocation. And if you saw the Count of Monte Cristo, you know that that shot stayed in the film, and I am proud to say that I shared some screen time with the Mother of God. Then inexplicably, I get a call from Mel Gibson. Now, my agent didn't call. My manager didn't call. I didn't know Mel Gibson. I wasn't politicking for the role because nobody knew what was happening. Mel Gibson wants me to play Jesus Christ. He wants the guy with the initials of JC, who just happens to be 33 years of age, to play Jesus Christ. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so either. It was at Medjugorje that I consecrated my life and my acting career to the Blessed Mother, using the traditional consecration form of St. Louis Marie de Montfort. From that moment on, all that I did in my life and in my career was in her service, to do with me as she pleased, prepared my heart to give my fiat to play Jesus in the Passion of the Christ. Filming the Passion of the Christ brought me even closer to Our Lady. The more you experience the Passion of Jesus, ladies and gentlemen, the more you understand the compassion of Mary, the connection between Mary and her Son. What mother does not suffer when her child suffers? On the very first day of shooting, the crowd rushed in around me. The guards hit me with whips, which hit my flesh. My arm was wedged under the heavy beam when someone yanked the top of the cross in the other direction. My muscles wrenched and my shoulders separated. I fell to my knees, dropped the cross, and buried my head in the ground. This take now remains in the film. Every day I picked up that thing, it was like a penance. It ripped into my shoulder, turning my flesh an angry red. With each passing hour, it got heavier. Then I had to hang on that cross. It was November in Matera, Italy, bone-chilling cold. And I'm up there on a cliff in only latex and a loincloth. On a cross, it is not the blood loss that kills you. It is the oxygen loss. You asphyxiate. So I'm gasping for air. My legs were going numb. And guess what? Hypothermia. To bring my core temperature up, they brought in these gas heaters. When they brought them too close, my toes started to fry and the latex began to melt. And that was before I was struck by lightning. And soon to follow, open heart surgery. But I offered up all of this suffering in union with Jesus and Mary for the success of the film, that it might lead souls to Christ. And boy, did it ever. The Passion reveals the obvious, very obvious, biblical truth that Mary, like no other, shared in the suffering of her Son as co-redemptrix. She gave Jesus his body, and the offering of his body is what saved us. The scenes of the Passion profoundly depict Our Lady's role as co-redemptrix with Jesus. In fact, a well-known Italian journalist stated that the Passion of the Christ could also have been justifiably called the story of Mary, co-redemptrix. For example, in the film, it is Mary alone who understands when Jesus has been arrested that, quote, it has begun. What has begun? The unified mission of Jesus, the Redeemer, and Mary, the co-redemptrix, to redeem the world. When Mary walks the way of the cross with Jesus, she stands opposite Satan. She is his opponent. Mary's role with Jesus to crush the head of Satan is powerfully dramatized. In the Calvary scene, the dying Redeemer gives his own mother to become the spiritual mother of all peoples when he says from the cross, "Behold your mother," John 19:27. In the final scene, Mary becomes a living Pietà, holding the dead body of her divine Son. She looks to us all as our loving co-redemptrix who suffered in union with Jesus, and calls us all to appreciate the price of our redemption. There are a lot of deep theological truths that Mel Gibson wove into the Passion of the Christ. In this chaotic, confused age,